Now, you may wonder, what is a Pizookie? Well, a Pizookie is ooey, it's gooey, it's chocolatey, and it's basically a pizza cookie. And we're making it for two. Join me in the kitchen as we make small batch recipes with big taste. So I remember the very first time I ever had a Pizookie, and it was an experience. It was probably over 25 years ago. I was with a group of girlfriends in Laguna Beach, California at a restaurant called BJ's, and they are attributed with inventing the Pizookie. Can I just say it was kind of a life-changing experience, and I have been a Pizookie fan ever since. So I'm excited to make them at home. Now the first decision you have to make is what size pan you're going to make it in. And I've made it in a couple different options. So this is a 6.5 inch cast iron pan. Now this is a perfect size if you want to, you've got someone to share it with, maybe for a romantic dinner or something. You're going to both eat out of the same pan, or if you just want to eat the whole thing yourself, this one will work great. One of my other options is this 3-inch ramekin. You're going to get a thicker and gooier Pizookie with this particular container. My favorite, though, is this ramekin, which is about 4 inches across. You don't get quite as thick, but it's still ooey and gooey and delicious. And I just divide the dough into two, and also two with this one. So choose your container. Okay, we're going to start with our butter. And for this recipe, we are going to melt our butter. And this is a 1/4 cup of melted butter. Let it cool for a few minutes after. I just melt it in the microwave. You just don't want it bubbling hot when you add your sugar in. Now, if you want to get extra fancy with your Pizookie, you could brown your butter. And if you need some tips on how to brown butter, I'm going to link to my my blog post that tells you all about how to brown butter. It gives it a extra depth of flavor that is really amazing. We're going to also add in a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, and then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of beaten egg. Now, this is not a whole egg. Just take your egg, beat it up, and measure out 2 tablespoons. You're going to have some extra egg left over. Check out one of those giant cookie recipes I have here on the blog, and it's a perfect way to use up that leftover beaten egg. We're going to add that in and mix it all together. And then we're ready to add in our dry ingredients. We are going to use 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. And then we're going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And we're going to just stir this together and till all the flour is just incorporated. Now, the next choice or decision you have to make after you decide what pan you're going to make it in is what kind of add-in you're going to put in. Now, I usually make it with chocolate chips. I kind of change it up. My favorite probably is semi-sweet, but sometimes I use milk chocolate, white chocolate, dark chocolate, kind of what I have on hand. You could also add in some toffee bits, some candy pieces like M&Ms or Reese's Pieces. You can really get creative with what you want to put in. Today, we're using a 1/2 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Sometimes I'll save a few out to kind of push those into the top of it so it makes it look a little prettier. But after that is all mixed up, we're going to take our container, whatever one you chose. I'm going to just very lightly grease it because of the butter. You don't really need to grease it very much, but I do just a little bit. And then, and don't inhale the spray, we're just going to take our dough and divide it somewhat evenly between the 2 containers. Now remember, with this particular container, you are going to get a little bit thinner Pizookie. If you want more of a real deep dish Pizookie, go ahead and use those 3-inch ramekins. Your bake time is going to vary, and it kind of depends on how ooey and gooey you like your Pizookie. A Pizookie typically is kind of like an undercooked chocolate chip cookie. Now, you can cook this so that it's not ooey and gooey, but believe me, you want it to be a little bit ooey and gooey. So we're going to put these into a 350-degree oven. And what did I say? For this one, I'm going to bake them anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. I'm going to kind of watch them. At 10 minutes, they're going to be pretty gooey. At 15 minutes, they'll still be gooey in the center, but they're going to be a little crispier and more cooked around the edges. Oh, and one more thing before I put them in the oven. I'm just going to add in a few of those chocolate chips. Maybe there's some blank spaces that need a chocolate chip. So. They're out of the oven now. I cook these probably a little closer to 15, 16 minutes. Like I said, it's just a total personal preference how ooey and gooey you want them in the middle. Now, these Pizookies, I think it's required. You must have ice cream with them. And, getting that ice cream to Pizookie ratio is very important. And also, you want to eat these warm out of the oven, okay? That is the best way to eat them. And then sometimes when I want to feel a little fancy, I will actually drizzle, there we go, get it out of here, some chocolate over the top. All right, there we go. Then all you need is a spoon. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen today. Be sure to check out my other small batch dessert recipes down below, and I'll see you in the next video.